Welcome everyone. I'm the hero, and we didn't decide who will do the intro, so I guess I'm doing it. Fuck you, Pink.
No! I waited so long.
This is the Shut Your Mouth Lounge, episode 235, I believe. And with that, Pink,
Yeah.
is anything coming out on your channel?
Yes? Question mark? I'm pretty sure I've got a massive, like, 5, 6 hour long Dead by Daylight session with Mike, Corn, Alex, etc. So that will be going up this week.
Yeah.
And I that should be the bulk sum of it.
All right. But as for me, it's the usual, nothing.
I like it.
Then on the group channel, and I'm doing this out of memory because I'm too lazy to actually like sign into the YouTube channel. But on the
Oh, he's
group
gonna
channel,
fact check us. We hope.
yeah, on the group channel on Monday, we have Nickelodeon All Star Brawl, the time W and I played it. And Pink,
What?
yeah, Pink, imagine this. Not only does that game not have crossplay, so we couldn't play it with you. That game doesn't have
Uh-huh.
crossplay. That game doesn't have crossplay between PS4 and PS5, so W had to download the PS4 version.
Oh,
Yeah,
well. Yeah.
like you'd imagine that since those two are on the same network.
Right. I wouldn't have thought that would be a problem. I feel like they would have taken that in consideration, but I guess not. Wow.
Yeah, so that was funny. Then on probably like Wednesday or somewhere around that time, fighting games are is coming. It was supposed to come on this past week, but schedule slip.
I like it.
And finally on Friday, we have three monkeys,
Oh, nice.
and that's the group channel. So Pink, what have
Good
you been
deal.
up to?
What have I been up to? Not a lot. Not a lot this week. I had, several things came out this week that I was intending to watch, and I never got around to watching any of it. We had the latest Doctor Strange Disney Plus. Haven't watched it yet. We had what's it called? The Umbrella Academy come out on Netflix, season 3, I think. Haven't watched it. I still have Invincible to watch through, and I haven't watched it. So yeah, I didn't really get anything done on my end. I played TF2 for the first time ever with you and Alex on his birthday. That was fun. Not really my style of game, but I had fun with it. And
Yeah,
then on okay, we did that on Wednesday. On Thursday is when I played DVD with Mike, and that eventually led to just me playing other games while everybody was chatting in the Discord. So I played a lot of Civilization while we were talking. And I played a lot of 2K22 while we were talking. I even what did I play? I played a little bit of Watch Dogs Legion while we were talking, but not a lot of unique stuff there. Just chilling out in the Discord for no good reason at all.
yeah.
And it was fun.
I mean that
And
is why
that
we have a
about
Discord.
sums up my week. What was that?
That is why we have a Discord to chill out.
Right.
So
Thought this thing was a business. I was wrong. No wonder I'm not making any money.
yeah, I'm sorry, Pink, but we have to send you to the Nitro mines. You have to boost the server with all your might.
With all the might that I possess.
But yeah, you were just going to say something, but I cut you off.
Oh, I was just saying that wrapped up my week. Nothing new or fancy to talk about, just a lot of the usual in the TF2.
Yeah. All right. Well, I did some things. So turns out, remember how I freaked out a bit about or money situation with my family because of the
Yeah,
whole ship.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not good, but it's not as bad as I thought. Is the best way I can put it. So technically, we're not in debt. Maybe
That's
is
nice.
yeah.
Always good to not be in debt.
Yeah, like we're still in rougher waters than we would have been had we not gone, but we're not in that maybe. So, because it's a thing of like my older sister says that we owe them money, and we did the calculations and we shouldn't owe them money. So that's an argument to be had. It's pretty much
Hmm,
where we're at,
I see.
because we had a set budget for the whole trip, and no matter how much we try to recall what was spent, it doesn't cross like it's one third of the budget. So
Hmm,
yeah, that's gonna be a thing that's gonna be happening a couple of months from now. But either way, I did manage to snag a couple of games because of this.
nice.
So namely, I bought Flatout 4 for $2, maybe 3 at
Oh, I
most.
like it.
Yeah,
That's a good price.
yeah. And here's the thing with Flatout. Flatout, I never played Flatout 1 or 3. I played Flatout 2. Flatout 2 is my favorite racing game because it's barely a racing game. Like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, have you played Flatout 2?
I'm aware of it.
Okay, but yeah, that game is fun. I'd say that overall I would call it trashy. Like it's a trashy budget quote unquote racing game that heavily focuses on demolition derby stuff and also like stuff outside of racing to sell it because it's kind of more arcadey.
Yeah.
So Flatout 4 was panned super hard, which is probably why I could buy it for $3, but and that's why I didn't buy it for the longest time. Like when it came out, it was $30, I want to say, and now its base price is $20. So like barely over $20, maybe like 22 over here.
Right.
So yeah, and because everyone said that, oh well, this thing sucks about it, and that thing sucks about it. I didn't buy it because there's a lot of things that make me enjoy Flat Out that you can't just see from video footage. So
Yeah.
I just trusted those people's opinions, and I don't agree with them. Turns out, like
Ah,
it's the biggest thing against the game was that the demolition of the cars is not as detailed. Like you can't destroy your car as much as you could in two, and that may be true. I didn't check, but I'm also not like like while I'm racing in this racing game, I don't really look at how much my car is dented or how realistic that dent is.
right. Yeah.
And the other parts of the game, while like flawed, like the game is definitely flawed. If I'm right and if it was released at like $30, it was like they knew what they were releasing because this game is not like a full price game. This is a double A game, maybe at most. But that's just Flat Out to me. Like Flat Out to me is not the best game ever, but it has a charm. It has this fucking trailer trash charm to it,
Yeah.
and Flat Out 4 brings that still. Like Flat Out 4 is like if Flat Out 2 was released today, or at least 2017, because that's when it came out. But it legitimately is just here's the things that made Flat Out 2. Here's some like very small amounts of differences, but it's mostly just Flat Out 2 actually. And then just it's on the current gen of consoles.
Ah,
And so I've been enjoying it a lot because once again it's just for that too, but like with minuscule differences to make up for the fact that it came out like fucking 12 to 15 years after Flat 2. So instead of the
I see.
soundtrack being like pop punk and nu metal, which was at the time,
Hmm.
it's now pop punk and alternative because nu metal is fucking dead.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, but like the more punkish side of alternative, the one that's all distorted and shit.
Yeah.
The only thing that's missing from this game's soundtrack compared to the other two twos is Symphony of Destruction, which like yeah, no shit, they're not gonna fucking shell out the money to get the rights to Symphony of Destruction for this game that's gonna be a double A game at most, you know.
Hmm.
But other than that, I'd say that the soundtracks themselves are mostly comparable in regard, or in regards to quality, taking into account the different time. Because like I like the Alkaline Trio more than I like any of the songs on this game's soundtrack. At the same time, trying to look at them objectively, like those songs aren't particularly better in any way than these are. I'm just more used to them because I grew up with those. I grew up with that soundtrack. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, the gameplay is mostly the same. At least the normal races. You can still fly out of your windshield. You can still fucking kill people. That's what the game calls it. There's an actual achievement for killing a racer,
Ha.
and there's still like the stages can still be destructed. Like the stages are still very destructible. Is the best way I can put it. But yeah, there is also a new mode. Because by the way, the thing with when you can fly out the window and just play like darts with your body and shit like that, that's still in the game. But there's also a new
I
mode.
like it.
There's also a new mode where they went, hey, but what if Mario Kart?
Ah.
And you just have four abilities at all times that you can trigger that goes on a cooldown, and they have like stocks. And I don't know how you refill the stocks, but they're there. And that game mode, while like it's one of those things where I don't really enjoy it because it's too chaotic to me. Like I'm not used to it yet.
Yeah.
Because for that is chaotic by default. So just add fucking Mario Kart power ups on top of that, and then it only gets even harder to follow. But uh, yeah. So like I don't really like that mode, but at the same time, it's not bad. I wouldn't say it's like it was a wasted effort to try something new with it, and I appreciate that they actually tried doing something new.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's flat out. Then I also bought another game that's on sale on Steam right now, and there's a reason I'm telling you this, and I'll come back to that later. I bought Armello. Have you heard of Armello, Pink?
I have not.
So I looked at Armello, and it looked like a Civ-like game. And I'm
Ah.
gonna see if I can fetch a couple of pictures. But yeah, so I looked at Armello, and I was like, hey, this looks like Civ. W bought me Civ 6, but I can't play it on my PC, so. And I also don't want to double dip because W bought me Civ 6 already. So I could buy this and learn how to play Civ for when I get a PC that can actually run it. But it's a thing
Ah.
of like, I would consider buying Civ on console as well, but I don't think it has crossplay.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, and that like if I'm buying it, then I want to be able to play it together with y'all.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's a picture of the game from Steam. So yeah, as you can see, it looks a bit civish.
Yeah.
Or like here's another. And so I bought it because whatever. I bought the Ultimate Edition with all the characters because I figured, hey, more chances to win me over. It didn't need them.
Right. Oh, nice.
And here's the thing: it plays nothing like Civ. Well, for the most part, unless you count it being on like hexes, and
Right. Right.
um and there was another thing.
It's turn based,
It is
so
it is
Hex
turn
isn't
based.
turn based.
Yeah, hexes and turn based, but that's like that's all of strategy games, not just Civ.
True.
But yeah, there's a very small amount of things that make it similar to Civ. In the long run, it just looks very much like a Civ clone.
Yeah.
It is. Oh yeah, the one big difference is you don't build kingdoms, or rather you don't like build settlements and shit. You have one hero character. You don't have armies either. You have one hero character that you control, and you do a D&D quest.
Ah.
Oh, that's the thing. Yeah, the winning conditions are Civ like, kind of. That's the thing I remembered. But yeah, so you do these quests. You can choose which winning condition you're working towards, or you can switch on the fly like in Civ. But it's it's weirder because you see Armello is not just a turn-based strategy game. It's also a card game and a dice game.
Mm.
So you get these cards. You have three different decks to draw from, and you choose which decks to draw from. And that you can use to get like power ups and or not power ups but like buffs or like put sabotages or on tiles for people to step into and stuff like that. And
Ah.
and otherwise the dice decide your fate, and you get to see the dice decide your fate. You actually have like there's the game counts up all of your dice, and then you actually have to throw them.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just a very fun game. Like I don't even know what to really say about it because like it's a thing where like I don't know how to put it into words because it's fun to play, and I can see how much more fun it would be with people. It's fun just going as the AI as well, but it's a thing where like I think it would be like Civ if we ever get around to playing it because I don't think it's a game where you can um it's not a game that we would play every week, but it's a game that we would play once every month or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's the best part: it has crossplay with everything.
Oh,
You can buy it on
wow.
you can buy it on Switch, you can buy it on PC, you can buy it on Xbox, you can buy it on PlayStation. All of those have crossplay. There's also mobile versions. Those don't have crossplay because how? But
Yeah, yeah, that'd be a bit too complex.
yeah, but all of the console or PC versions have crossplay. It's in beta, but it's only in beta because they say it's in beta. Otherwise, it's completely in the game. I have crossplay enabled in the game right now,
Mm.
and it's on the ultimate edition of the game is on sale on Steam for like fucking $20.
Yeah, I looked it up on Steam. It's like 22 or 23.
Yeah, and the basic version is 10. So
Mm-hmm.
so it's a fun little game. I don't know, like it's one of those things where like I was going to say originally I guess got ready to show this game to y'all, being like, well, if it goes on sale, you should buy the ultimate edition and then we can give it a shot. But it's on sale, so I don't know what to say because I don't want you to spend money right now. you know.
Right, right.
But it's a thing where like if y'all buy this game, I think it has up to 4 people at once, or at least that's how it does it with the AI. Then I would very much like to play this with y'all because it's a lot of fun. And yeah, the other thing, you don't just play against the other people. There's also a central enemy, the king, that is fucking everything up on the map more or less.
Ah,
And he has a nuance because you see he dies in 9 turns. That's his gimmick. He dies. So like he's really hard to beat. But if you either wait or if you can overpower him, that's how you win. That's the domination victory more or less. Is that that's the
ah.
domination victory. If you kill him, that's the domination victory. There's a thing where you go around and collecting these stones. You need four of them to purify him. Then you just walk up to him and then he dies more or less. I think that
I see.
I don't know what victory that would be. There's also a prestige victory is what they call it, where you do enough quests and you get enough favor with the king to win. When he finally kills over, you just become king by default, and that's how you win. I think that would be the culture victory.
I
Is
guess so.
I don't know because it's one where you don't need to fight with people or like interact with anything
Yeah,
really. And there's also the corruption win, which I have no fucking clue how you do because I haven't been able to do it yet. But uh, there's this thing called the corruption in the game. But if you roll bad, or just get bad luck, or choose the one character who starts out with corruption, then you can get more corrupted because that's what's killing the king as well. You can get more corrupted than the king if you kill him that way. Then, or how do I put this? If you wait long enough and you're more corrupted than the king at the end, then you can fight him, and he just fucking screws himself real hard. He basically
ah,
he basically kills himself. So
Okay,
a corruption victory is basically an easier domination victory, but it requires more setup.
I see.
And there's these I could fucking rave on about this game because it's a lot of fun. Like
Nice, nice. I like it.
remember that game for the king that we played
Yeah,
once?
yeah.
It's kind of like that if it were more like Civ.
Ah.
So like you can get random encounters in the game, or not random encounters, but there are things where like if you're really hurt, there's a chance that if you go into a city, that a healer will approach you and it will give you different things to roll for. So you can get like the healer on your team, or you can get healed completely, or you can pay him for something I forget and stuff like this. Or you can get unlucky going to a dungeon and just get like a piece of shit called the stranger attached to you, and the stranger will make you move at the start of your turn, wherever. The stranger has gotten me killed
Just
twice.
wherever.
Yeah. Like the stranger gets one action point, which is your movement. The stranger gets one seems to get one action point at the start of your turn to move you wherever it wants. And it got me the victory that way once and killed me that day 3 times. So so yeah, the stranger is a piece of shit. Also, if you walk next to someone who has the stranger on them, or if you have the stranger and walk next to someone, then the stranger rolls to see which one of you he attaches himself to.
Mm,
He's applied on everyone. Yeah,
I love it.
but yeah, if you can get a 4% thing with this going, or even a 3% thing, that would be a lot of fun. I think because there's there's potential for fun. There's a lot of potential for
Yeah,
fun, and since y'all actually know how to play Civ, you can tell how it's similar or how it's not.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so those are the games I bought. I also got, because the new PlayStation Plus came out, I got the mid tier version that gives me access to PS4 and, well, to PS4 games, because I don't get to stream PS5 games. Although that would be funny, but
Mm.
but yeah, that gives me access to PS4 games. So I've played through a couple. Morales is in there. I've been tempted to just play through it to get all of the costumes for when we play through it, but I said that we're gonna do that with both of us completely unaware of what's going on. So I'm holding myself to that.
All right.
I mean, we only have one more session of normal Spider-Man, which, by the way, the Game of the Year edition is on that for that, which includes all of the DLC. So technically, we could do all of the DLC for that too, but I don't know if you want to. Like, I don't.
We should concentrate on doing Morales first, and then if we've got like an itch to go and do all the DLC stuff, we can do that afterward.
Yeah, true.
I wouldn't want to do the DLC and then move on to Miles Morales because then we might get burned out.
Yeah, true. But yeah, so I've been playing through games in that. For the first one, that's not a full game, but I did get to play the Iki Island DLC for Ghost of Tsushima this way, which has been too expensive for me to buy, or otherwise. And it's all right. Like they do things. The writing is still good, I'd say, and the characters are interesting and stuff like that. It's just the thing of like the whole story hinges on Kazumasa, who is Jin's dad. Kazumasa was a piece of shit. You get to learn this through the main game, and
Hmm.
then the whole DLC they just continue hammering on that Kazumasa was a piece of shit, and then Jin is still like, well, he wasn't that bad, and no, he kind of was. Like there was maybe they even tried to make him gray, like more morally gray, and that's fine. But they didn't show anything that would suggest that he wasn't an asshole, other than just saying that, well, he didn't have a choice once. Why didn't he have a choice?
That's a good question.
But yeah, they also added a rhythm game, kind of, where you have to tilt the controller to do flute music in the DLC. You play the flute to animals so that you can lure them in and pet them.
Okay.
Yeah, and what else was particularly interesting about it? Hmm, I don't know, because it was mostly just like more Ghost of Tsushima, which I'm fine with because I like Ghost of Tsushima, but also I wish the story wasn't centered around Kazumasa.
Ah,
Because like the main game really sells the idea that the samurai were kind of shit, and then the DLC going, well, no, Kazumasa was a troubled hero. Well, I don't know. You haven't shown me reasons that he would be a troubled hero. He was kind of just an asshole. But yeah, so there's that. Then I also played Ghost Runner, which is a have you seen Ghostline? No, Hotline Miami.
yes.
All right, imagine Hotline Miami if it was also Mirror's Edge and Cyberpunk.
Okay.
I did not like that game. Not because of anything with the gameplay. I mean that kind of too because I don't like Hotline Miami. But
Yeah.
but I could have enjoyed the game. You see, it fucking softlocked my PS when I had to do a power cycle, and I deleted the game after that. Cause fuck that shit.
Power
That's
cycles are never fun.
and the thing is, if you power cycle a PS4, there's a chance it will corrupt the OS, which means having to reinstall everything, including the OS. So yeah, like after it softlocked my PS4, Mr. Resetti came out of the PS4 and beat me the fuck up.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean he's out of a job, but
That is true. He did get fired like a decade ago.
yeah, like it wasn't fun. Not the game, the fact that it softlocked my PS4, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the game was all right. I just don't want to risk it anymore, you know.
Yeah, probably not worth it.
And then let's see what else. I played a bit of the Messenger. Messenger. Why did I say that so weird? Fuck. But yeah, I played a bit of that. It's Ninja Gaiden. I also
Ew.
not that one, the old one, the for NES,
Right.
which is also kind of you because there's a reason. There's a reason the Ninja Gaiden we played was that hard. I think I know this because I also played the NES Ninja Gaiden.
Oof.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden 4 was one of the games I had growing up.
Ah.
But yeah, uh, that's a game. Like I played a bit of it. I played the first uh level, I guess. The first area is the best way I can put it. And that seems like a game that's like fun on your own. I feel like it would be more fun to play it uh with more of us there, just because the writing is very indie,
I see.
and that's both good and bad. Like the best, there was a joke that actually was kind of funny, where one of the things you unlock is crawling on walls because that was something you could do in Ninja Gaiden, but you don't start that with that in this game. And the shopkeeper just goes, "Oh, the wall crawling was invented by Joe Gaiden or John Gaiden actually, John Gaiden." I just love how John and anything is just the default protagonist name. My favorite bit with that is when or where I think one of the people who worked on God of War posted this excerpt from an or like a review for God of War 2018, I think, or maybe it was the first one, I forget. But the reviewer was a journalist, I'm assuming, like an actual proper journalist, at least back in God of War God of War one's time. I imagine they were an actual journalist. They referred to Kratos as John Kratos, and that's great. I wish that was canon.
I love it.
John Kratos, Greek Marine.
Yes.
But yeah, hey,
Oh,
Hey.
hello.
so are you uploading anything, W?
I I don't believe I'm uploading anything at the current moment.
All right. And are you
Oh,
uploading
you
anything
put it
this
up on
week?
the channel.
Yeah, on your channel.
Well, I can't say I'm immediately playing anything at the moment, but I currently am I just woke up, so I confused.
Great.
He is not to be trusted. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
That's true. You can't trust me.
So W, there's two things. You came in for one. You came at the right time. We were just discussing John Kratos.
Oh no!
But also, I've already shilled Armello to Pink, and I'm gonna shill Armello to you. Eventually. So I'm gonna try to give a quick summary. So the one person who may be listening to this wanted to hear me shill the game again the same way exactly. But Armello is do you remember For the King?
Yeah.
So Armello is kind of like that if it were more like Civ, and it also has crossplay, and it's $20. It's $20 for the most expensive version on Steam right now. So it has a similar winning conditions to Civ, at least I think from what I remember of Civ's ones, and it looks a bit Civish, but otherwise it's kind of more of a card game or a die or no, it's more of a tabletop game, and it also uses cards and dice to supplement the the Civish looks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving parts. That's really there's a lot of things you can do, but it's a lot of it hangs on chance. But that I mean that in like a good way. Like it's the RNG isn't annoying most of the time. And then there's the stranger who was made to make sure that you understand that RNG is annoying.
Eh.
Because there's a chance that this character attaches himself to you, called the stranger, that makes you move one tile at the start of your turn, every turn, until he detaches from you. But yeah, there's a lot of, like, the game is a lot of fun, and I would like to play it sometime. And I was going to say that y'all should buy it when it goes on sale, but then it went on sale, so I don't know what to do. So yeah, that's pretty much my Armello shilling. If you want to look at pictures of the game, then I did post a couple of them in the general text.
Yeah. Is that a bunny man?
Yes. Yes, but the bunny man is very
Sweet.
scary. The bunny man is very scary because the bunny man shoots with a fucking cannon.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That
Oh, no,
sounds like your fault.
No, actually, that's the bunny woman, who is she's one of the basic characters. There's 4 basic characters, and then there's like 12 or 15 DLC ones that all have their own gimmicks. But if you get the game for $20, you get all of the characters like I did. But yeah, there's a lot of fun characters. There's ones that play around with the game's specific gimmick of rot, is what they call it, where the character gets corrupted, and that's one of the ways to defeat. Because the main objective in Armello is to defeat the king through any one way, and for that you can just kill him if you can, which is the domination victory, I think, or would be in Civ. Or you can do things diplomatically and just be a really good like have a lot of prestige with the king, and then when he just kills over, you win, because he does eventually die, by the way.
All right.
What else can I really say about it? Like there's the game is a lot of fun. I keep saying that, but I don't know what else to really say, because I am enjoying it a lot.
All right then.
Yeah, there was one like small tidbit that I wanted to say here, but I'm forgetting what it is. So whatever. Anyway, so Yeah, I just finished. I just finished talking about the messenger. Then I also played. Uh, did I play anything? Oh yeah, I played through Saints Row 3 again because I got the new PlayStation Plus, the mid tier one, because that's all I could afford for now.
All right.
I played through Saints Row 3 again with all of the DLC and shit. So correct me if I'm wrong. Did Saints Row 3 not have any story DLC?
No, it had something to do with the weird Doctor Whatever game show.
Ah yeah, Doctor
But the
Genki.
main intended story DLC was Enter the Dominatrix, which of course became Saints Row 4.
Yeah, I'm asking that because that's in the game. Saints Row 4 is in Saints Row 3 now in the remastered one.
What?
Yeah, they seem to have gone back and added in the parts of Saints Row 4 that were supposed to be DLC.
Weird.
Yeah, because there was story DLC ish. Like I think it was story DLC where you have to film gangsters in space or whatever it was called, their movie, which was part
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that was.
which became Zinyak. And the other one was a story where you have to stop a mutant Get clone called Tag, and in that you get superpowers, as in super sprint and fireball throwing and super punch, which are also in Saints Row 4. So yeah, I think they went back and actually just like made those DLCs be a part of the remastered game. Otherwise, Saints Row 3, I booted up because you know the new one is coming out in a bit, and I wanted to have it more in memory to fucking have something to compare the new one to. And I started the game out, and I'm like, man, I remembered it wrong. This game is actually all right. It's not like great, but you know, it's fine. And then the game kept going,
Yeah.
and then the game kept going, and then the game kept going. It never stopped. But like you know, I stopped having fun around around the time the stack was introduced, and then I just gave up and turned,
Yeah.
and then I just turned like gave up and turned the cheats on after the Nightblade mission where you kidnap him, and I did the rest of the story,
Yes.
and I did the rest of the story the way the game is meant to be played with Demigod,
Eh.
because I was like, well, I still want to remember the story, so I just finished the story. But boy,
I'll say from my part that I actually have been kind of getting a bit of a hankering for Saints Row lately.
I mean, if you want, I wouldn't say no to doing like a fucking aroundish playthrough because that's all I figure we'd do. Where we just like do a couple of story missions, fucking set each other on fire, and then die.
I would say, like at the very least, like just like a single recording session, right? Because who
Yeah,
knows if that would get tired quickly.
yeah. Like I don't know if we're the right people to record Saints Row as a full series either. That's why I'm seeing more of a a relaxed thing where we just like we're doing the story mission, but we're talking about other shit more or less. You know, like we usually do. And like not even that's probably not a full playthrough. And that's a thing that I think we need to embrace. We need to do playthroughs where we just like boot a game up, do like a session or two, and then maybe come back to it.
Yeah.
Because I think that one thing that that is holding back us from having more varied content is just that we're like, well, we're either doing a full series or fucking nothing. So
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, then let's see. Did I have anything else to say about Saints Row? I was disappointed by the weapon selection. I remember there being
Yeah.
more.
There's not very many, and they pretty well all upgrade to become too strong to be anything interesting.
Yeah. I guess for the movie DLC, One notable thing is that they made a director character who was supposed to be the antagonist. They made him like he gave off Xbox heat.
Heh.
Like they did a good job writing him to be an asshole. In fact, they did do too much of a good job writing him to be an asshole.
Heh.
But yeah. So I guess that's it for Saints Row. And then let's see what else. Have you played the Iki Island DLC for Ghost of Tsushima yet?
No, I only put a little bit in with Director's Cut, but I have not actually got to there. I've not been certain whether I want to start a whole new playthrough or try and go through the game again, but with the Director's Cut features.
I mean, there's not really that many Director's Cut features, because here's the thing. Everyone got upgraded to the Director's Cut. I know this because I have a basic deluxe copy of, or I had a basic deluxe copy of Ghost of Tsushima, and I turned on the Japanese subtitles, and the Japanese subtitles matched the lip flaps.
Yeah.
The only real Director's Cut features right now that I can think of are the Iki Island 3 DLC, and that's it.
Heh.
Because the Director's Cut features were the Iki Island DLC and the lip flaps. At least the ones I remember.
Heh.
Oh right, you may not have had the shitty armor that I have. Because I got a special armor for having the deluxe version that you got with the old one as well. That's the only other new thing I think for you. But yeah,
I'm not for certain.
it's like this blue thing. It's called like Hero of Tsushima armor.
Oh yes, I think I did get that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have had that thing since launched.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, mind you, I beat that game in 2 days. No, and actually, I platinumed that game in 2 days.
Ah.
But yeah, I beat that game in 1. I platinumed it in 2.
Heh.
But yeah, DKL and DLC is fine. It's mostly good. The main story beat hinging on Kazumasa was bad in my opinion because I don't like Kazumasa, and they do know
Kazumasa?
Jin's dead.
Oh right, I don't. I do kind of remember that Ghost of Tsushima 1 just kind of brushes over his dad's death with like, oh, it's my fault. Anyways, next thing.
Yeah, the DLC goes into detail about how it's Jin's fault and why it's Jin's fault. But the thing I didn't like about it is how in a lot of ways they go like, oh, well, Kazumasa was a morally great character. Like, he wasn't completely evil, but he wasn't good either. And they never really show off or talk about why he was supposed to be good. It's just, here's this fucked up thing Kazumasa did. He's morally gray. Like he just really seems like an asshole. But otherwise it's fine. You get you can get a new outfit for Jin, or like it's a new upgrade, I guess, or color. Technically, it's a new color for the armor that I'm forgetting her, the Masako. The armor that Masako gives you. You can get a new color for it that makes it look closer to how Jin looked when he was young. And you can play the flute for animals, and then Jin can pet them. You need to lure them in. There's special spots where you can do this. And you play the flute by waving the controller around. So yeah, it's a fine DLC. I just really wish it wasn't so apologetic to Kazumasa, pretty much.
Doesn't sound too apologetic to him.
I don't know, because it's I guess I just wish Jin wasn't like. I wish Jin had more of the edge that he had around the end of the main game. In regards to,
Yeah, though to be fair, you
Yeah.
can start the island DLC as soon as you do the first castle.
but I guess there's an argument to be had around that, because there is a thing that would be spoilers, that Jim brings up. But then you could argue that he's trying to make people scared. So I don't know. So yeah. So aside from that, I also played through Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, I've been looking to try that soon. How did you feel about it?
Well, the gameplay I can't really talk about because it's an RPG. So I just fucking turned the RPG off again. Because fuck it. I'm gonna enjoy myself. Fuck this RPG trend. Like, thank the game, thank the developers and God for giving me the option to just go, no, I don't wish to partake in this RPG. And then just turn that off. Because without the RPG stuff, it's a fine action game, gameplay wise. It's not great, but it's tolerable, The part where the game shines is the writing. The writing is
so I have heard, yeah.
The writing is great. The characters, like, I couldn't parse where this was supposed to be in the group. I guess it's supposed to be the very start of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's one of those things where, like, I get it, but I kind of wish they also, like, showed them, like, I wish they showed Star-Lord hiring everyone then. If it's the very start. But it's like, it feels like they looked at Spider-Man PS4 and they went, well, Pete's like 8 years into his career. They reference stuff that happened that you don't see in the game, so it's fine if we start in medias res, and it would be fine. But they're they're on their 15th mission together, and it really is just like they just started working together, and they don't do a great job of establishing why that is. Like, on the start, I didn't know if this was just a version of the Guardians that just hate each other, or if they're supposed to be, like, early in their careers or whatever. And it seems like neither, kind of, because, like, you'd assume that if they did 40 missions together before, then they wouldn't just fucking bicker at each other for half the game. But yeah, that's pretty much my biggest issue or biggest gripe with the writing, is that, like, it feels like they wanted to write a story that starts out around the establishment of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then ends with them working together, and then just put that in like in the uneasy medium stage of not liking each other, and then getting together, but forgetting that there is that medium stage.
Yeah.
Otherwise, my one big issue with the game, and this is actually an issue with that. It is kind of an issue with the game, but it's more an issue with Soon. Because if you remember, Soon said that after a while, you just feel like you're playing as all of the Guardians, even though you're only controlling Star-Lord. That's false. Like, you don't feel like you're controlling the Guardians because you're not controlling the Guardians. Who the thunk? It feels like you're Star-Lord giving orders to people, and then they do those things that you order them to, which is fine. Like, it works. There's, like, flares to make it, more friendly and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I'm still only just, like, going, hey, Rocket, blow that guy up, instead of switching to Rocket and blowing that guy up.
Yeah.
So yeah. There's a lot of props to give in regards to the characterization and writing. The one thing I keep going back to complaining, but that's because I want to get all of them out of the way so I can praise the game. The one thing, I guess, that's towards the characterization that I didn't like is I didn't like Drex's and Rocket's voices. They weren't bad. They grew on me. Like, they worked after a while. But Rocket should be Cockney or from New York. There is no, like, the guy is not doing a bad job. I just don't. I can't accept this completely. Like, he
I like how we've now reached the conclusion that he just has to have some kind of funny accent.
Yeah.
I wish Pink were here so he could say something. I feel like this is something he'd be opinionated on, but no, he's just dead.
Yeah. Like it's once again the voice of neither of them do a bad job. I just have my preferences, and them not being that is like it took time to get used to. The problem with Drax is even more minuscule because like the guy who did Rocket's voice could have just done an accent. My problem with Drax's voice is he doesn't sound like gruff enough. But once again, it's a thing of like I feel like as they recorded the takes around the end of the game, like as they got through the script, they got more used to the character and got more into character. So by the end, it felt right. But the start of the game, it just really feels like Rocket is just talking like some dude, and then Drax is doing a bad, but he's the impression. But Drax specifically is the first one I want to bring up, who was written really good, like better than the MCU. Because
that's easy.
Yeah, but like Drax, I found Drax to be likable in the MCU too because he's the I don't know he's the fucking dumb muscle man.
Yeah,
and then in this game, they had the gall to write him to be not be dumb, just literal, which is what he's supposed to be.
Yeah, how he was in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 before they thought it'd be funny for him to talk about his turds.
My only real form of being exposed to Drax, to MCU Drax, was Infinity War. So like when I think of Infinity, or when I think of MCU Drax, I think of, if I stand still enough, then you'll think I'm moving really fast or whatever it was.
Right. If he stands still enough, he becomes invisible to the naked eye.
Yeah, that was it. And like this Drax once again is.
Hey Drax! Damn it!
Yeah. And this Drax is like he's weird and doesn't understand things, and then character development happens and he starts using metaphors. Yeah. Like the thing is, the best part of all of this is that Star-Lord calls him out. I never know what name to call Star-Lord, so I just keep referring to him as Star-Lord. I think he's Peter.
Yeah.
The only Peter I know is Spider-Man. Even Griffin. Anyway, so yeah. Like Star-Lord, is he even like, did he just use a metaphor? And then Jackson just kind of shrugs it off.
Yeah. I don't know. Did I, Quill?
This is a weird thing to have a gripe with. One of the characters in this game, let's see if I can find a picture. Lady Helltaker, I think her name is. I don't know if she's a character in the comics.
Hellbender.
Yeah, her. Yeah, so I don't know what she looks like in the proper comics, but her model in the game just looks like Cassandra from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So whenever she was on screen, I was just filled with hatred. And it may just be my face blindness kicking in, but she legitimately just looks like blue Cassandra. Like, I'm actually gonna get a picture so we can compare. No, not fan art. I need an actual picture. There we go. Like, I don't know about you, but both of these women look the same to me. It's like they cast the same actress, which they may have, but I don't know.
They do look very similar.
See? Blue Cassandra.
they got very similar jawlines, same hairstyle almost. The braid really ties it all together.
Yeah. I also really like Mantis. She speaks like Eliza in the Sonic 06 fandom, which I didn't expect anyone to try and write like that. If you told me that they just told the voice actress to just make stuff up, I'd honestly believe it. Not for the whole game, but for her first, like, I forget if it's the first one or the second one, the scenes she's in. It really feels like they, instead of a script, they just told her to just figure it out. And then just included the whole take. And I don't know how far I can go into the discussion without hitting spoiler stuff. There is the, of course, we have to have the whatever you call it, the team splitting up, because that's a thing that has to happen because we have a team.
Yeah.
And that one is on Rocket, and I felt like that was a
It usually is.
That's the thing I was going to say, is that, like, the only person in this whole team that I don't think would split from the team is Groot, or willingly split from the team is Groot. And I wish they would have went with something more original than just Rocket again.
I mean, there are certain things that, like, it depends on execution, and it just, in the nature of a character, Rocket is always going to be the one who is the most anal retentive and unlikable, just by nature.
I don't know, because Rocket is genuinely like my favorite Guardian. Like,
oh yeah, definitely. I don't mean like unlikable to the audience. I mean unlikable to people in the like.
Okay, yeah.
Deadpool is a very likable character to the audience, but if you knew Deadpool in real life, you'd be like, "Oh, that guy's a piece of shit."
Yeah, true. Definitely true. Yes, on both accounts. But yeah. And then let's see what else I can really discuss without going into spoilers. I don't know how much I liked the flashback sequences. I don't think this is spoilers because the game starts out with one. So and then all of the flashback sequences are revisiting that one flashback in the start of the game. So, but yeah, I didn't I understood the reason that they were in the game, the flashback sequences. But
yeah,
and they weren't executed like badly. It just kind of felt like it's how do I put this? It felt like one of those things where, like, if you do it for Star Wars, you should have done them for everyone else, because Star Wars is not the only character who needs establishment and like backstory and shit like that, and the only backstory, like, you get other characters' backstory, but it's only through like word.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to see what happened to Rocket exactly. You don't get to see what happened to Thanos or what didn't happen to Thanos in this universe, because that is very ambiguous. Or you don't get to see fucking, like, Groot's planet blowing up. And
Planet X, but
yeah.
he was the king.
It just feels like some of these feels like, it's callbacks to people who actually read the comics, which is fine. But, like, if you're giving, once again, it's a thing of, like, if you're giving Star Wars a fully animated flashback sequence, then you should give it to the other characters too, because they're not like lesser. They're a team.
It has been alleged.
And not only that, but, like, we also get to hear about Star Wars backstory. Like, it's handled in both ways, where you get to see the things the Star Lord saw, but also Star Lord does explain what happened to him to the other characters eventually. So it just feels like they had him double dipping, because he's the protagonist, which, like, he shouldn't have been the sole protagonist anyway. But once again, that's just me.
I think what you're talking about here is kind of like not really an issue with the way the game is, but it's not the game you were necessarily looking for, which I definitely get because I have that same issue with that game.
Yeah, like for me, a Guardians game should be about like should have this the writing. Like the writing is once again really good, but I don't think it should like focus on any one Guardian more than any of the other ones unless it's their like solo spin-off game or whatever. Like it's one of those things where like if this was Star-Lord the game, and then the Guardians of the Galaxy was in it too because Star-Lord is kind of tied to the Guardians now because of the MCU, then that's fine. But like if you do Guardians missions or whatever, that's fine. But since it's the Guardians of the Galaxy game, even though the Guardians are there, it doesn't really feel like one a lot of times to me.
Yeah.
And aside from that, I could talk about some of the pools. Like there are characters that I have tangentially heard about that show up that I can't name because they're spoilers.
Yeah. Well, I already know who the villain is through soon, so at least that. And that one's a surprise. Like, that's the character you want for the villain? All right.
I don't know what Soon's talking about. The villain's the like fucking he's black. Whatchamacallit. Like you know the effect you get when you try to enlarge or like a was it a voxel? I forget the triangles when you're making a model.
Heh.
Like that's the villain. Keep in mind that I may be lying. Like it's with me, you never know.
I know that Soon doesn't give a shit about spoilers, and you do, so I'll assume that you're lying and he's not.
I don't give a shit about spoilers. I respect y'all enough to not give out spoilers. It would be so much easier for me to just.
Okay, let me correct myself. I know you respect others' wishes enough to try and avoid spoilers. I know Soon doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. But no, genuinely though, the villain of the game is the polygon thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was something else. Oh yeah, the llama. I didn't understand the llama, and I still don't.
I also don't understand the llama.
In the first mission, which is why I don't think this is spoilers. In the first mission, you steal a llama, and it's just on the ship from then on, and they never explain. Like it's they steal the llama to sell it later, and they never do.
Okay, fair enough.
And like there's things with the llama, as in like it is in story cutscenes sometimes, but it's just there. It never like it. It's not like it's not a significant character. It's just in the background. I was like, hey, I'm here. I'm a llama, and I don't get it.
I do.
All right, cool.
I understand llama. I actually don't.
Pink, do you understand the llama?
I don't have a clue why they have a llama.
Nice. Oh, I guess the one last thing that I can bring up, which isn't spoilers technically, it's spoilers in the vaguest way. Near the ending, there is a big battle. Hutatank. Spoilers.
Yeah.
But near the ending, there's a big battle, and your choices seem to affect who all shows up. And it seems like I had a good enough read on most of the characters or how to defuse situations that I think I got everyone, which is nice.
Heh.
It led to some cool moments. It also allowed me to skip multiple battle sequences that would have taken me like 20 minutes. Yeah. Because instead of having to fight the people, they just get vaporized and then you leave.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all as deep as I can go without spoilers. So yeah. Oh no, the one last thing that's not spoilers. I really like how I don't know if this is on this was on purpose or if the game literally just does cycle through the copyrighted music it has. But the first time I booted up the game, it played Never Gonna Give You Up. And the credits song for me was also Never Gonna Give You Up. So
I feel like they had to know the stinky meme song. People wanted it.
but yeah, but when I started the game up the second time, it played a different song during the same part that Never Gonna Give You Up played.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like I don't know if if it cycles through. It probably does, at least for the first part. I don't know if it cycles through during the credits, but if it does, then it's really funny coincidence that both of the times I got Never Gonna Give You Up. Oh yeah, also for the copyrighted music and all that. I remember soon bitching that there was a way to turn it off. I don't get that, but the bigger thing is that you get access to their shitty bot rock, even if you have it turned on, and you still have to listen to it. Unless unless I'm mistaken, the Star Lords exist, because that's the in-game band that Star Lord listens to, and that's why he's named Star Lord.
Nah.
And it's like it's not bad, I guess, but I didn't like it. Like I would also let her listen to fucking Pat Benatar than the Star Lords, you know. So yeah, all of that. Yeah, W.
Nothing. Nothing.
All right. So I think that's it for video games. And then let's see. I did go back and do a couple of DALL-E prompts, and some of them did not succeed, but the results were funny enough that I was like, hey, I'm gonna save this anyway. Also, DALL-E was moved somewhere else, and it loads faster now. So once again, if y'all have prompts, I can put them through DALL-E, but you know, like like I could watch through all of our content through to get prompts, but a lot of it is like Eddie does weird thing, and it wouldn't know who Eddie is. So
yeah.
all right, I'm gonna get this one out of the way. I guess I'll put it in general. I don't care. So yeah, for like sometimes with this AI, you just wonder exactly like how much you can configure stuff, and you read like even though like most of the prompts I use are more on the simple side because that's how I can get the best results. But sometimes I am tempted to give a very like long-winded and detailed prompt and then see just what comes out of it. And usually it's nothing. But it's the thought that counts. This is one of those cases where it was nothing. With this one, I just wanted like I just really like the not Sasuke Uchiha, whose sage animal is Garfield. Like that picture implies that Sasuke Uchiha has a blood contract with Garfield.
I think you might have got a little too ambitious for DALL-E there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that was the preamble to this. Yes.
I think generally speaking, yeah, mixing just one or like just two or three terms, I think is what DALL-E prefers.
But yeah, I also went back and did this one, and it actually got like good results. Oh, is it not gonna upload? All right, let me resend it. There we go. That's you.
What?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like how these ones turned out. I like the right bottom right one and the right middle one the most. I think those will be good inspirations for Halloween thumbnails. But yeah, then I tried to find out the greatest mistake of the universe. The greatest mystery of the universe. It was the greatest mistake. The thing I found out because I asked Dolly, "Who is the largest Jonas?" And it turns out it's the fourth one, John.
Never would have guessed.
I'm pretty sure there is actually a fourth Jonas.
There is a fourth Jonas. He just doesn't look he just doesn't look anything like them from what I remember. So it's funny that in most of these pictures there's four of them, and they look the same. Technically, this would be the fifth Jonas. But yeah. Then yeah, this I'm getting all of the failed ones out first, and then we'll see if there's any left, I guess. Because I also a lot of these I did like last week before we left, so I don't remember all of the ones I did. But yeah, I tried to do this because oh no, it's not gonna. Okay, there we go. I tried to do this because it was a bit in one of the videos, and I just really liked the picture of a guy in a fucking green fursuit in front of the American flag, implying that he's the president. After this, I also tried JFK leaks J. Edgar Hoover's furry stash, which was also a bit which was said by W. I don't even know which video it was on, but sadly for that one, it was just like pictures of Hoover and JFK, which I assume would be in the newspapers after JFK leaves his furry porn stash. But still, it wasn't funny enough for me to take pictures of. Then I had to try. This one failed, but I had to try. Dutch had to meet his idol. I think I don't remember what Joaquin Phoenix looks like. I think in the top left one, it tried to merge them, which I'm fine with because that also works. I also tried Joaquin Phoenix in Red Dead Redemption 2, but for whatever reason it didn't work. So it just gave me you see not John in like fucking the middle right. Like that's all I got for Joaquin Phoenix in Red Dead Redemption 2, more or less. Oh yeah, this one. This is one of those cases where where I didn't get the desired result out of the prompt, but the result was funny enough that I still saved it.
What the heck is? I still like how that podcast thumbnail is the word. There is a picture of Joffrey with the words ruined.
Yeah, it's a good thing I stopped making those thumbnails.
Yeah. And then let's see. There is one more. I was trying to figure out if there's any others, but I don't think so. No. All right. This one just turned out the way I wanted it, more or less. Within reason. I think the top middle one works. At least the parts I can see, it's far away.
I think most of them work, honestly, on some level. Like, that bottom middle one is just blatantly a morphed screenshot of Silent Hill 4, though.
Yeah.
Not nearly blocky enough to be a PS2 game.
What PS2 games were you playing?
Virtua
Grand Theft
Fighter.
Auto. They had those sharp edges on all the appendages.
Pink was playing Virtua Fighter 2 on his PS2.
Oh. Yeah, but Grand Theft Auto looked a lot shittier than other PS2 games at the time.
That is true. That is true.
And then I think that's it for me.
All right. Did Pink get to do what he did this week?
Yeah.
All right, then. For my week, I haven't done a spectacular amount. Had a pretty good birthday yesterday. Let's see. I am just now actually I picked it up last night and got to put in a little time with it. But I picked up the Capcom Fighters collection. I have so far only put time into Darkstalkers 1 because I want to. The difficulty scaling in this game is fucked. If you set the difficulty to 0, then the AI is fairly dumb and, more importantly, does virtually no damage, which I didn't even know that Capcom bothered with changing the damage scaling. And then suddenly when you put it to difficulty level 1, the damage goes back to normal and the AI is considerably smarter. So I'm sure that this is a point and laugh at Alex not knowing how to play fighting games moment, but or at least not knowing how to play fighting games against AI moment. But it goes from I just stomp everybody at difficulty level 0 to I have serious trouble getting past the third AI match on difficulty level 1.
Oh no, that's my experience with some older games as well. Like Sam Show 5, difficulty scaling is fucked in that too. But you have eight different options. On difficulty 1, the game goes from pretty much just standing there to Kusaragedo, where Kusaragedo will combo your ass and you're dead. And that's difficulty level 1. That's difficulty level 1. On difficulty level 8, the first couple of opponents put up a fight, and then just Rugal. All of them are Rugal. So yeah, I played a lot of old fighting games, or just games in general, really. But I play a lot of old fighting games on the easiest difficulty when I'm still getting used to them again, playing as the AI, and then if I feel like I'm not getting enough of a challenge, I'll turn it up. But it's usually fine. It takes a lot for me to get to the point where like in uni I can only play the game on the hardest difficulty because otherwise there's no game. So yeah, continue.
Either which way, yeah, Darkstalkers 1. It's a fun, very unique fighting game. It's very weird with a lot of the systems they do. I want to mention this just because it's so weird. So the way the game handles clashing projectiles.
Yeah.
Ordinarily, clashing projectiles will just break each other, or if they do it like Mortal Kombat or Injustice, they won't clash at all. They'll just go right through each other, and you both get hit. Street Fighter, generally, if one of the projectiles is multi-hit, then it will go through and the other one will break, unless they're both multi-hit, in which case they'll clash again. Yada, yada, yada. However, for Darkstalkers, it instead follows a weird momentum system, and which projectile breaks and which one proceeds depends on which one is further along its arc is the one that breaks. So if you throw a late Hadoken, it will go through the enemy's Hadoken. But then it's a bit different if your Hadoken doesn't have much distance to go at all, in which case it's a shitty Hadoken that won't stop theirs. It's weird. But it's fun, though I can tell it's a bit primitive, and sometimes Capcom was trying to deliberately make something that wasn't at all like Street Fighter 2 with Darkstalkers. They wanted to just do something entirely different. And the inputs being so weird for a lot of the characters on stuff that is just regular special moves is a very obvious example of that. Just for example, for a regular grab that does honestly very little damage. Bishamon has to do a fucking pretzel input.
Nice. It
And
keeps you unpredictable.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure the later games simplified the inputs on a lot of moves because they recognized it was silly.
Yeah.
The other thing I got to really do this week was I finished Disco Elysium.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a really good game.
All right. Did you get to see the dancing scene?
No, I actually did not do the nightclub stuff because I thought that the game wanted me to stop the teenagers, and the only skill check I saw that would imply stopping the teenagers.
Hey.
I failed and could not get it to reopen, or rather, I never got the level up to reopen it.
I see.
Which higher built Fallout New Vegas skill checks. I guess Fallout 3 skill checks. And the way the game basically hinges itself on is if you fail the skill check, then generally speaking, you take a bit of damage, and the skill check gets locked until you level that specific stat up again. Then it reopens it. It does lead to many awkward situations in that game of, I have failed this skill check as many times as possible, even at high levels, because God just decided, no, fuck you, not today.
Yeah.
So you absolutely do have to save scum at some points. And that if you're comfortable accepting that, which I am, then you can breeze through the game. If you do not take the time to actually prepare yourself by doing side mission stuff and actually investigating the smaller areas of the case rather than just going for the main meat of the case, if you do not take the time to prepare, the game will start beating your ass in the last couple sections because it's like, all right, you ready to solve this case? You've investigated literally none of the side matters. Are you ready? Oh no, now the mercenaries kill everyone, and also your fellow police officers think you're just an incompetent drunk, and you get fired. Good job. Yeah, it's a game that can be modified quite a bit depending on your choices. It reminded me of New Vegas in a lot of ways like that. Also, like New Vegas, it's heavily about politics. I will say that I quite like how it handled politics, personally speaking. That is to say, it does kind of take what I think a lot of people would probably consider a lazy answer, and the answer that a lot of people would not be overly fond of, which is, while you can go down the path of either centrism, capitalism, communism, or fascism, the game never actually makes a judgment on what government systems work. But the one character who is consistently always reliable, your partner, pretty well says, no government system has worked here or will ever probably work here.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, the game even goes to the trouble of having some sympathetic characters for each of the political systems, each of the political thoughts, and some unsympathetic characters for each of the political thoughts. Your character generally wavers back and forth between both because he's kind of a drunk. Well, he sobers up if you make him sober up, which I did. But even if you sober him up, he's still crazy. So, unsurprisingly, the maniac doesn't present the best political views.
Yeah.
They go to the trouble of, there are some political choices where it's like, centrism, do nothing. Capitalism, fuck the poor. Communism, eat the rich. Fascism, I don't know, but I blame the foreigners. There's literally a choice in the game where you're presented with nothing but stupid exaggerations of the political spectrum. And then the fifth dialogue option is, can't I choose something more sane or rational? And then if you pick that dialogue option, the inside of your mind just says, pick one of these crazy things or fuck off.
And then there's a sixth option, which is sing DMX.
Yes, you do get to sing DMX at one point, which is weird because it's the only bit of referential humor in like the whole game. And they go to a lot of trouble to make Disco Elysium's world similar to our world in a lot of ways, but also different enough that it's a bit alien, which makes sense because you're a drunk suffering from deja vu, so, or jamais vu, I don't know which. So it should seem vaguely like you remember, but at the same time, like, this is not the world I'm used to. But either which way, they go to a lot of trouble to make it a different world from ours, but apparently they still have DMX in this world?
Yeah. It was too cool.
The thing is, I actually want to talk this over with Pink, because I think it sounds like you pretty well already know the game's story.
No.
But Pink does. Pink doesn't.
Like, I know 2 scenes, I think. So.
What 2 scenes would those be? I would assume those are Measurehead and the You're Black scene.
I don't think I know Measurehead. I know the dancing scene in the club. I know You're Black through you. I know the start of the game.
Yeah.
Like I know that in the start of the game you fucking like wake up wake up to confusion, and then that's pretty much all I know about the story.
Yeah. Either which way, the game ends in a very good way. I will say, Soon had just completely lied to me about the game. He said it was a French nihilist socialist game. It's none of those things.
But
Is it French?
Have you looked at it? It's super French.
It's not French at all. It's Estonian.
That's the joke. It's French.
It's not French.
No, but hadn't you heard every European nation is France or Germany? Or
A
both
lot of
at
the
the same
characters
time.
and names in the game are French, but it's supposed to be like a post-colonial thing. Like the implication is it's because this was the area the game takes place in was at some point a French colony, or excuse me, whatever equivalent there is for the French in the Disco Elysium world.
Yeah.
And it's not socialist. You can pick several political views, and part of the game's entire ending, part of the entire point of the ending is, boy, that socialism thing really didn't work out, huh? And it's not nihilist either. The point of the game is honestly redemption. That there is a point. Keep going. Oh, there is one thing I want to mention just because it cracks me up. There is a point in the game where they literally say, in this world, humanism is a religion. As in, there is an actual church of humanism you can visit. And I started laughing. What?
What the fuck even is humanism?
It's a political philosophy. Ted can give you a whole essay on it, but I got a good kick out of it because for years we have been hearing constantly Ted say, humanism is a religion. Humanism is a religion. Humanism is a religion. And I got a kick out of this game that's super politics focused, and I figured would be of a more leftist bent, where Ted's very conservative. And the game is also like humanism is a religion. And it's like, okay.
Did you check the credits to make sure he wasn't in the writing staff?
Well, the game actually did start out as a homebrew D&D setting, so there's reasonable possibility there. I don't know if Ted knows any Estonians.
If we ask him about it, he just goes, "They stole my idea. They stole my script."
There is one dialogue exchange I wanted to mention just because I get a good kick out of it. There's lots of humorous moments in this game, as there inevitably is whenever you're playing. I mean, we all played New Vegas. We know there are some funny dialogue options in New Vegas. This kind of game kind of lends itself to saying funny things and doing funny things.
Yeah.
But especially when your character is either drunk or crazy, there is a dialogue moment where you are at one point talking with a bunch of kind of like EDM European like ravers, I guess, who want to talk you into setting up a rave club inside that church. And one of them speaks pretty well only in shouted phrases. You go up to him, and he goes, hardcore! And you can choose to say nothing. Hardcore! And it goes back and forth like that for a little bit. Until eventually, like, they start bringing up, okay, you want to help us get into the club? Hardcore! And your character, you get the dialogue option of, hey, wait, I just remembered I'm a cop. And the other characters go, oh, well, how's that help? And one of the dialogue options which popped up, and I picked it because I knew I had to, was, that means I have more important bullshit than this. Just walk out.
Nice.
So yeah, Disco, it was cool. Oh, and we've been watching Ms. Marvel lately, but I haven't actually talked about that. We are now up to episode 3, which is the most recent. I know Soon and Ted aren't very fond of it, and Gov Gaming, but Gov Gaming seems to just vacillate wildly between saying weird, insane things no one would agree with, and saying things that seem to just be playing for Ted's approval. But
Are you saying we shouldn't just like replace all of the Marvel characters with Mr. Negative and Sable?
that is, you make a good point. I will certainly concede the MCU has issues now that seem to be getting worse. The MCU also has had some issues that have gotten better and seem to go away in some places. I'm really enjoying Ms. Marvel at the moment. I will say it is definitely not the most exciting. It is taking its sweet-ass time getting anywhere. And there is definitely a lot of silliness going on with the family. I am definitely kind of trying to reserve judgment until we see where the road leads. No matter what, there is the bit of... So they changed a lot in the adaptation, right? And to a certain degree, this happens with every adaptation, sadly. But with Ms. Marvel, it is a fundamental change to not just her powers, but her identity. And, Hank, have you been watching Ms. Marvel?
No.
Okay. So on top of turning her powers from kind of Mr. Fantastic-esque to Green Lantern-esque, they're
silencing him.
They're silencing him. No. We'll never know. It's a conspiracy.
Kamala Khan showing up at his door right now.
The wrestler?
Wasn't that Miss Marvel's name?
Kamala is the wrestler, but Kamala Khan is the character, so you're correct. Okay. I don't know that Kamala, the WWE superstar, had a last name. But he could have been a Khan. We don't know.
So that you got out.
Of course I did. I've been doing that a lot lately at the important parts of my talks.
Yeah, so you said there, and then Kamala Khan burst down the door.
So they changed Kamala Khan so that she's now her great grandma or whatever was a Jinn. She's a descendant of the Jinn, and that's how her powers work because she's a Jinn.
Like Genie Jinn?
Which, yeah.
What?
Yeah. I mean, it's them trying to like play on like after Black Panther was the raging success that it was. It's kind of, you can tell Marvel trying to like double down on let's have multicultural superheroes where we try to like make them part of like their culture, be a vital aspect of their character and so on. So it's like a Middle Eastern character. Let's have her be a descendant of jinn, right?
I feel like that. I feel like that's racist. Like that.
Well, Marvel.
I'm offended. Like, what the fuck?
I'll say it definitely crossed my mind because that and the whole, like, personally, I'm not a fan of the Chosen One storylines. I'm not a fan of Divine Bloodline storylines. I'm not a fan of you are destined to do this because of your bloodline stories. Because I know that they're not intended to be racist most of the time, but there is definitely like a tinge there.
Yeah.
And they do generally originate from medieval ideas or older than that ideas of racism.
Yeah, and like also think of like specifically jinn. Like, I don't know how jinn work in the Marvel universe, but like jinn are generally believed to be like malevolent spirits. So
no,
well, it depends. It depends. In the original, like, you know, the Middle Eastern thing, I think they're supposed to be malevolent spirits, or like, you know, just people you don't fuck with, more or less. And the pop culture thing is more like Robin Williams, Blue Genie.
Yeah.
But you know, like, if we're just saying that she's a jinn, which is closer to the proper, like, you know, form of that, then that's basically saying that she's evil. But like,
well, I think there's a great variety of difference there because belief in the jinn is a very old thing in the Middle East, going back to like tribal days, and Islam had a big change on it as well. But while I've heard of the idea of jinn being malevolent, I've also heard that it's a fairly common interpretation in some circles of Islam that jinn are almost like magic spirits who are between angels and demons, that is to say, neutral, and can be sinners or can be, you know, godly, I guess, much the same way humans can, I suppose. So, I mean, and not only getting, also you gotta get into the thing of like, well, the jinn were also just seen as like almost gods before the arrival of Islam in the Middle East.
Yeah. Oh, that also depends, because there were also like tiers. Because like ring genies used to be worse than lamp genies, or something like that. That's not even completely a joke. If I remember correctly, there were different tiers depending on what housed the genie. And if it was in a lamp, then it was very powerful. If it was in a ring, then it was slightly less powerful. And I don't know what else they could possess. Like, my knowledge of that stuff doesn't run that deep. I just know enough that, you know, I have a general idea of what the non-Islam interpretation used to be, maybe. But yeah, so is Kamala Khan a ring genie or a lamp genie?
Well, they seem to be going with the idea that there's no lamps or rings to contain them at all. They have, or at least they haven't addressed it yet. The assumption pretty well right now is they're pretty well treating them like, I guess, interdimensional elves. But either which way, it is very odd to go from the comics where Kamala was very much a person who just happened to be there at the wrong place, wrong time, and so on. And that being a lot of what made the idea of Kamala special was she just happened to be there, but things worked out, right?
Yeah.
Peter Parker was not divinely decided to get bit by the spider. He happened to be in the lab and got bit by the spider.
Yeah.
And, you know, to go from Kamala is a regular teenager who, yes, is of Pakistani descent and, yes, is Muslim, but gets powers unrelated to that because, you know, Spider-Man's powers aren't, Peter Parker's powers aren't related to him being, like, of ambiguous ethnicity and ambiguous religion.
No, all white people get spider powers.
That's true.
And all gypsies are very athletic and have magnetic powers.
But I'm not going to like say it's racist to give a Middle Eastern person jinn powers, because it comes down a lot to execution. But it's definitely very weird to see a character go from regular teenage girl with happenstance sci-fi powers to doubling down super hard on, let's talk about Pakistani descent, and she's got specifically ethnically Middle Eastern powers.
Yeah. As you say, like they can do this right, like it can be executed well, but it like when you just put that on the table like that, it just feels wrong. Cause like this is some of like this feels like the things that people have been working against, just being like racially profiled and being like, hey, like only black people get lightning powers. Why? Like
Because it started as a send up to Black Lightning, but then just became a trend.
yeah, like black people wearing yellow. Thanks, Ed Boon. I don't know if he even know if he was the like the start of the trend, but he was in it. So
No.
well, why did
Like,
the trend start?
I honestly don't know. Like, I think the only the only black dude from Mortal Kombat who I can think of that wears yellow is Cyrax, and usually you can't even tell he's black.
Well, I'm thinking of like Armageddon.
Oh, right. Yeah, that. Well, the less said about that Jax costume, the better.
Yeah, yeah. Think do you remember that costume?
Not really.
All right, be glad.
Yeah. Jax, notorious military man. Let's give him a 50 Cent costume. What?
But yeah, like this Kamala Khanting feels like that. Like they could have done good, done it good. MK, they could have done it tastefully, but it just doesn't like it. With Jax, it doesn't fit the character. With Kamala, it may, I don't know, but like it doesn't feel right. Just like playing laid out like that.
I mean, there's something to be done potentially. Like, part of Kamala's the whole thing in the comics was she wasn't like
Most girls,
super like super like religious. She wasn't like
yeah,
super huge Muslim. And part of the whole thing Kamala has in the comics is her playing around with that, where sometimes she doesn't like the restrictions that there are in Islam, and she'd rather not have to deal with them. And she's not super huge on like getting into her Pakistani heritage and so on. But they've not really played on that so far in the series, where it could be a thing of like she literally has to explore her heritage to find out what's going on here, or something like that. One thing I will say real quick, they do like they show several Jinn people at one point, and I believe one of them is white and one of them is a black chick. So it's not supposed to just be Middle Easterners. It just so happens
okay,
that our one Middle Eastern superhero is a Jinn.
okay. Then I mean
that's not true.
yeah.
That's not true. She is not the one Middle Eastern hero. They did literally just introduce Moon Knight and Scarlet Scarab, who are both Middle Eastern and not Jinn.
Yeah, and I mean like in that case it's better. It's still not the best look, but it's better. It's not blatantly just like racist.
Yeah. But what was I going to say? Like, it's again, it's one of those things that like I have to assume they made this change because they're going to introduce Reed soon, and they don't want Reed and Kamala to have the same powers. But it is such a massive change to have Kamala go from what is so clearly a sci-fi power set to what is so clearly like a fantasy power set. And I gotta sneeze.
Oh, hurry up and sneeze. Gosh darn it. There we go.
Been slow ones.
Bless you.
It's been slow ones lately. Ugh. I don't know. And the one thing I do want to say, just to end it real quick, it's pretty clear already who's going to be the one that Kamala fights in the end. And the MCU is doing it again. The same fucking thing they do in every MCU solo movie or solo TV show. The fucking villain is going to be some kind of mirror rival, a Virgil. It's going to be a Virgil. Again.
Ah,
Oh my god. Does anyone love the Virgil trope? Does any fictional setting love the Virgil trope more than the MCU?
It's Papa Shango Tsar, her biggest
I mean,
enemy.
seriously. Pink, has not virtually every MCU movie had the villain be the good guy, but evil? He has the same powers.
I mean, I don't. I was going to bring up a DC thing, but like it sometimes it works out the other way. Reverse Flash turned out to be the good guy.
Yeah. It is a bit rare in DC, isn't it? Because there's Zod for Superman, there's Reverse Flash for Flash, and of course there's Sinestro for Green Lantern. But I mean, for all the Batman villains that are villainous copies of Batman, you get Owlman, who isn't really the coolest, Prometheus, who's just notorious for shitty storylines, and Catman, who virtually never actually fights Batman. He usually just does his own thing.
I mean, does Hush count?
No.
Or Azrael?
Azrael's close. Yeah, Azrael's damn close.
Close enough to be Batman at one point.
Yeah. Hush's primary power, you gotta keep in mind, is self-plastic surgery.
That's true.
Does Wonder Woman even have an evil equivalent?
Does she have villains?
Well, she's got Cheetah and Giganta and Ares.
Hades.
Come
on.
on.
Ares, not Hades.
Cersei?
Circe. Dr. Psycho. Oh god, remember Dr. Poison?
No, I don't.
Other than that, Wonder Woman's definitely not got a super great rogues gallery.
Wonder Woman's greatest enemy is public perception.
Yeah. Yeah. For the longest time, yes, I would say Wonder Woman's greatest enemy was the fact that everybody thought of her as the lamest DC hero. Thankfully, the movies changed that. Either which way, I believe that's pretty well the end of my week. Believe we can call that a podcast.
All right.
Bye.